Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Seiko is an incredible affordable watch brand, arguably the #1 brand you can put on your wrist for under $500 US, certainly the #1 you can put on your wrist for under $300 US. The first Seiko branded wristwatch was launched in 1924, exactly 100 years ago. I actually saw one of those watches at a Seiko event last month. So the brand has an immense back catalogue from which to draw inspiration. And boy, do they draw inspiration from their back catalogue quite regularly. Every second new Seiko release seems to be a re-release of an old Seiko these days. Sometimes I don't think they quite get it right, but sometimes they absolutely nail it. And I think they absolutely nailed the 1968 55th anniversary SRPK 17 reissue. Now, I don't often get the chance to compare a reissue with an original watch. In fact, I've only had that opportunity once before with a Timex Marlin a few years ago. But today, we get to have a look at the Seiko 1968 and the Seiko 1968 reissue and compare the two, and I have a certain Mr. P to thank for this opportunity. He owns both old and new and has been telling me for months that I need to compare them in a video. So Mr. P, thank you my friend, this one is for you. Let's flip the camera and get on with it. Alright, if this is old versus new, and if I'm claiming that the new watch is one of the most successful Seiko reissues in recent years, it makes sense that you guess which is the old watch and which is the new watch when I bring them into shot. Are you ready? Go. Yeah, okay, that probably didn't take too long. This is the old watch and this is the new watch. This one is 55 years old. There's some ghosting on the crystal. It's a little bit beaten up here and there. But look at these two. They are remarkably similar, and I guess that is the point of a reissue. There are some necessary changes to joule count and water resistance rating, but yeah, fantastic. That must have been an absolutely sensational watch back in 1968, because this is a pretty sensational watch in 2024. So the reason for the reissue, apart from money of course, is that back in 1968, Seiko issued this Seiko 5 sports range for the very first time. We are all more than familiar with the Seiko 5 sports range these days, I'm sure. So they have used the original logo, the original sports text, the original colouring, etc. What a watch to choose to do it with as well. Now, Mr. P bought his original on eBay. He buys a lot more used and vintage watches than I do. He's got an eye for the 60s and 70s in particular. I don't think, as good condition as this watch is in, I don't think that bracelet is authentic or original, because Seiko certainly make great claims about the new watch having the same bracelet as the original, and they do not match. But apart from that, this one is in great shape. Now, I had the back off of this. It features a 6104A caliber, so it is the authentic period correct caliber, and it is in remarkable condition overall. Again, not sure whether that crystal is original or whether the bezel insert is original, but yeah, lovely condition. No major dings on the case, just a few scratches on that aluminium insert, but then again, you would expect that from a 55-year-old watch, and it certainly adds a little bit of character, as patina should. And I wonder what this new watch will look like in 55 years time, if it will hold up as well as the original. Now, just like the original, this one has a bidirectional friction bezel, and if you look at that lovely frame around the day-date complication, interesting that it was colour matched back in 1968 as well. You can see the frame is the same shape. It's not rectangular. It is extended at the north and south points. Really, the only difference is 10 bar as opposed to 70 meters and 24 joules as opposed to 25 joules of that 6104. This one features a 4R36, of course, because it has the day-date complication. So for no reason other than pure mischief and badness, I thought I would put the two of these on the time grapher to see how a 55-year-old Seiko movement with an unknown service history performs. Yeah, okay, this is how it performs. This is generally why I avoid vintage watches. Look, that variance isn't all that disgraceful. That's still within the Seiko's tolerances for the new movement in the new watch, more or less, but the amplitude is low. I appreciate I haven't set the lift angle correctly because I couldn't find the lift angle for this movement. It's more about accuracy and amplitude, and this one, yeah, doesn't really do too well on either front, I'm afraid. But then again, the new one isn't exactly running within cost parameters either, is it? Reliable, rugged, robust, but not necessarily all that accurate. These Seiko NH4R movements, generally I find them coming in at around +10. This one's a little outside that, but again, it's within factory tolerances. So it's a win for the new watch, but only just, to be honest. What about lume? Let's do a side-by-side comparison there as well. Alright, welcome to what is probably going to be the shortest lume comparison video ever. I've taken every single lume shot on the same camera, same settings. Here they are in the back of my shed on a blue Pagani cloth, ready to go, and I'll turn the light out now. There is virtually no lume left on the old watch. 50 years, the passage of time, it's gone. Whereas the Lumibrite on the new one is glowing very brightly indeed. Thank you very much. So there we are then, old versus new. Leave me a comment, let me know which of these two watches as it stands would you prefer to have in your collection. Would you go for the old one with its history and its patina, or would you go for the brand new one with its brand new movement and its brand new lume on the hands and the dial? I'd be really interested to read the comments. I reckon they're going to be split pretty much right down the middle. Alright, let's take it back a bit then and let's focus the rest of the video on the new watch, and let's start by talking about price. Now the Seiko RRP on these ones was $380 and it was a limited edition. Limited to 15,555 pieces worldwide then, not particularly limited. As a consequence, you can still buy them. They are on eBay for around $360, so a little bit under retail. But the best price I could find was $311 on Amazon. So they're still out there and you can still buy them for less than the Seiko RRP. And you know what? I think that's pretty much what Mr. P paid for his. He paid $470 Aussie dollars for this one, brand new from a local retailer with a 3-year warranty. Nice packaging. This, I believe, is also kind of anniversary style packaging, which begs the question, if Seiko were doing something this cool back in the 1960s, why do we get the bland white box here in the 2020s? As discussed, SRPK 17K1 with a 4R36. And 6 spare links. To be honest, I could probably add one in, so 5 spare links sized up for my average 7-incher. Now, we already know the reissue is sized identically to the original watch because we saw them side by side. So what size was the original watch? Well, it was 39mm in diameter. This one is 12.7mm thick with a 42.8mm lug to lug. Now, that is a short lug to lug. Seiko are the masters of the short lug to lug. It looks like they have been the masters of the short lug to lug for at least 55 years. Lug width, though, is thankfully standard at 20mm. Bit of a taper down to 17, back up to 19 at the clasp. As sized for me, perhaps I could add one more small link in, 131 grams. 100 meters of water resistance. There is a mildly domed Hardlex mineral crystal with a little bit of anti-reflective undercoating, and the movement, as discussed a couple of times, is a Seiko 4R36. Now, unlike the original watch where the movement was made in Japan, this one is made in Malaysia and the entire watch is cased in China. It does have limited edition there though, and the number out of 15555 at the bottom. Now, it's a lovely curved case there with drilled lugs if you do want to move away from the supplied bracelet, circular brush to the upper lug surfaces, and a coin edge bezel, again just like the original. And just like the original in what has become a Seiko 5 signature, we've got that recessed crown down there at the 4 o'clock. The bracelet's interesting, all brushed on the top surfaces, high polish on the side surfaces. It's one of these kind of caterpillar track bracelets, not a huge amount of articulation therefore, and I'll be honest, it has nipped the occasional hair on my arm. Seiko stamped clasp, double security fold over, and oddly enough for a Seiko 5 at this price, it's a pressed upper, pressed lower with only 2 holes of micro adjustment. Now, these are small links, but only 2 holes. A third one, slightly longer clasp, definitely would not have gone amiss. And I'll be honest, this was a bit of a shit to size the bracelet. Push pins, but they weren't all that great to push. Looks like Mr. P has also struggled a little bit to get the right link out at the right time using the right tools. Dial and hands, we've seen them plenty already. Let's have one final dedicated look though before I get this watch on wrist. This is a very, very handsome looking Seiko 5. I think this is as good looking, if not better looking, than the majority of the modern Seiko 5s. It's no wonder, therefore, that Seiko decided to re-release this one. And fabulous use of colour. I love the slender red second hand with the lollipop balance towards the end. I love that little bit of blue, really breaking up what otherwise would have been a fairly monochrome black and white palette. And you notice applied rectangular hour markers. That's what gave this watch the lume earlier on. I've already talked about that lovely angled date frame, again very much of the period the 1960s. All the rest of the dial text is just printed on, save for that original 60s style 5 logo there. On wrist it looks good, it feels good, and 130-ish grams is a really nice weight for this size of watch. I could maybe take one extra link in this bracelet. However, if I added an extra link, it would roll around a little more than it does already, encouraging that bracelet to nip even more hairs than it already has. It's not as bad as the press link stuff, the cheap Seiko 5 stuff. It's grabbed a couple, but yeah, I should point it out really, shouldn't I? An overhead shot, legibility is actually alright. Silver hands against a black dial, you are reliant on them catching the light, but those large lume sections that we saw glowing after dark really do help your cause during the day. Moans and niggles, well, I've already had a pop at the bracelet. It was a bugger to size and has nipped a couple of hairs, so do be warned. I guess that's why they provide drilled lugs on this one, so you can swap it out for something else. And there's the usual Seiko complaint. Mineral crystal when sapphire would be infinitely preferable, and for $300 plus US dollars, 380 RRP, I see no reason why a company like Seiko couldn't provide sapphire other than corporate greed. But apart from that, we have a little bit of a unicorn on our hands here, do we not? It's a Seiko limited edition that wasn't so limited that you can't actually buy it today, still, if you want to. The price was reasonable in the first place and is even more reasonable now. It looks fantastic, it's fun, and yeah, it is an authentic one-for-one facsimile of the original watch. Thank you very much, Seiko. Please, more of this in the future. Thanks again to Mr. P for the loan of both of these watches. While you're here, why not check out my Marlin old versus new comparison or my favourite Seiko 5. Thanks for making it all the way to the end. I'll see you again in the next one.